All right, good evening, everyone. Sorry for the change of schedule for tonight, but this is round 2 from NURBURGRING of the Sim Experience South Africa IBFUSA GT3 World Series. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, joined again by Sean Woodgate. We are going to do a very brief introduction because the drivers are now in qualifying. So we are going to just have a look at the schedule quickly, which we are currently NURBURGRING, then we are Twin Ring Motegi, Imola Grand Prix, Long Beach, Spa, Mexico, Montreal, Sebring, and Monza. Our points are as follows. And our top 3 for the championship currently. We have a split championship. We have professional and we have veteran. So Chris Collison currently leading from Jason Underwood and Timo Smith. Then our veterans, we have Maurice van Beek currently leading from Andre Hildebrandt and Harvey Gross. Overall, this is our top 3 again. Chris Collison 58 points over Jason 57 and Timo on 47. And our overall, and perhaps while that's up and running, I'm going to just jump to my other screen and hopefully I can get things running in the background, but let me just jump here and then hopefully we can transition to our live feed. So welcome everyone, and of course Sean is with us. Sean, good evening, Sean.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Dennis. And through all the gremlins, we are still here. And one thing you didn't mention in the build-up is was the decision made that we're not going to go with the sprint race, but with the main race only.
That is correct. So we are doing a qualifying session, which is right now. This is live qualifying, and I still haven't a chance to change that, but we are actually in NURBURGRING round 2. So we're doing a 15-minute qualifying, which is currently live, and then we'll go straight into a 60-minute feature race. Because of all the technical gremlins tonight with the server, we are ditching the sprint race. So apologies for that, but that change of server doesn't seem to have worked out very well. It seemed fine in the practice throughout the week, but as soon as we had the heavy amounts of drivers joining the server, it just became a slideshow for everyone, including us. At least now it seems to be running smooth enough. Unfortunately, where I am, my bandwidth isn't high enough for me to stream correctly, so I am now recording the event and I will upload it shortly. So after the event is finished, I will then upload it to YouTube, so everyone must just be patient and they will get to watch it shortly after.
What did I say? IT happens.
Yes, it definitely does.
It's one of those things.
Alright, so let's get our timings up so we can see who we're with. And hopefully I can actually start focusing on what's actually happening in the background.
Well, that you see in the BP Racing Colors, Gerrit Beerkus, he was in the earlier sessions quickest by a substantial margin. I think it was 0.4 or 0.5 of a second. But of course, things can change, and normally they do. And it's nice to see that all the guys have stuck around and are out there on the track for the qualifying session. We have 12 more minutes to run, so still enough time to put in a good lap. It looks like with the gremlins, we're not going to have a live scoring monitor, which is one of the things that does make commentary a lot easier, but we'll commentate on that which we see in front of us.
Yeah, so unfortunately it's going to be a slightly weaker stream tonight, but at least we have a stream. So for those that, a recording of a race, I should say, not a stream. It will, I guess, be added to YouTube, so therefore you can stream it, but it will be delayed. So we are, at the moment, very limited on what we have. Myself, not as limited as Sean. Sean relies on certain tools that he doesn't have tonight, so Sean is only getting my feed, and that's it tonight. I'm at least getting some live timing, so I can see the live timing direct from the game on my PC, not the actual live timing that everyone else has access to. That's not running at the moment because we're on a different server. But currently we have Chris Collison in provisional pole from Jason Underwood. So Chris has just done a 52.9. Perhaps we can jump to Adrian Nell, who is on track at the moment, heading for a good lap. Something we also have new is driver's input. So at the moment you can see on the bottom right the green and the red. That is the throttle and the brake inputs, which is quite handy in a qualifying lap, so we can see how the guys are applying their throttle. Another thing that we have that's new which I'll have to just change to a different scene here to show it. So another thing we have is our tire information. So if you look on the left, you can see the red, the yellow. That's all the tire information, so we know what tires. As we see, I believe that's Jean-Louis du Toit running off there.
That will be number 737, Aston Martin.
And Adrian, I'm not sure what happened. We see someone, I think, joining the server as it does that. That's kind of normal. So this is the tire information we have. So we know that drivers on red tires are on softs, drivers on yellow tires, mediums, white tires, hards. The blue tires are wets. We're not likely to see those tonight. But during the race, we might see a few other options with tires. Some might run the hard, some will stick with the medium, some might even mix it up. Hards on the front, softs in the rear, vice versa. That'll be something different to make it easier to understand what's happening with all the drivers. Alright, so here we are currently watching Garrett Bukes. Currently in third place.
Yeah, he was quite quick, as I said earlier in the evening. And, well, up in third is nothing to be sniffed at. And certainly he's going to be trying a car ahead of him to catch a tow, because there are a few sections on this track where you can actually catch a tow. One of them is the main straight. And then also, as they approach the last S before going into the Coca-Cola curve, there's also, it's not quite a straight, but they go from third to fourth. And it's one of the 2 points on the track that they do get into fifth gear. That's coming out of the Warsteiner curve and then the Advan Bow into the NGK chicane before they get to the Coca-Cola curve, which is the last corner into the main straight. So 2 points on the circuit where they actually do get into fifth gear. And one of them is down the main straight.
I see one of the drivers that we don't have with us at the moment is Timo Smit. Of course, he's one of the top drivers, and I don't see him on the server at the moment.
And Harvey, although he's on the list at the bottom, he's one of the veterans, of course. He isn't out with a time as yet, or we'll wait and see whether in the next few minutes he does go out and post a time.
Sean just set the fastest middle sector, Gerrit set the fastest first sector. Gerrit is out on track at the moment, so I'm going to jump to Gerrit. We can come back to Sean. Gerrit currently with the fastest first sector. Let's see if that can be extended to the middle sector. See, he has got traffic of Rudy in front of him. If Rudy's on a fast lap, Rudy won't move over.
Yeah, the Sean that's being referred to, of course, is not me. It's Sean Olivier, number 137. So let's see how he does.
Yeah, we have several Seans in the field at the moment. We have Sean in commentary, we have Sean Johnson on track, we have Sean Olivier on track.
It'd be a confusing evening, except that I don't drive. Some people drive fast, others can speak fast.
Unfortunately,
technique to both.
Yes, unfortunately, Gerrit lost it there in the middle sector. I guess that's because of the traffic, but he's jumped to the pits, so he's obviously abandoned that. So let's have a look at Chris Collison currently starting a lap as he heads around turn 1. We have just over 6.5 minutes left to go.
And Timo's still not on the lap scoring monitor, on the timing?
Timo's still not in the server.
That's a pity, because I think he's the only guy running a Corvette.
Yes.
Well with it last time out.
I am just messaging him now.
Oh, we have two of Santa Claus's reindeer out at the moment, Donner and Blitzen, making a lot of noise.
My fingers click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Alright, let's just clear the timing sheet here as I'm looking at this, trying to get as much done as I can with one screen, which just feels so odd not having the usual information.
Yeah.
You get so used to the tools at your disposal, and when you don't have them, you realize what you have.
Yeah, and that's why I say to see the drivers' names on the lap scoring monitor makes life a lot easier. Now you have to go through it manually. Just to tell you that Chris Collison, Aston Martin, and his teammate Jason Underwood, both of them in the double figures this year. Chris Collison probably doesn't want to hear, aged 55, and Jason aged 33. And that is the Team Harder Racing team. And they are the team to beat. And they are certainly showing that they are quickest on the leaderboard at present in qualifying. And Birkus in the BP colors in third position for now. All of the cars are running softs, the red indicated there as it switches over to the timing. So yeah, Birkus doing very well in the BMW. So just trying to see who's, and then it's Sean Olivier is at car number 137 that's behind them, and it'll probably be Jean-Ray Dutoy, more than likely another Aston Martin from PZN Racing number 737 in fourth position, I think it was, or fifth. That's changed in the meantime. Is that Timo Smith?
It is. He has rejoined.
Yes. Yeah. It's a little bit of pixelation, so the small font is testing my multifocals to the limit. So nice to see that Timo has joined, and he runs the Minions racing car. He runs a Corvette, number 84. So we were talking about that earlier on, and it's nice to see that he's in the top 5.
I'll see if I can find his profile for us, then we can see Timo. That is Timo, of course, running from Cape Town. He's 38 years of age, driving a Corvette. And the highest he's finished in a championship is second place, which I believe was the first series we ever held, that we streamed, which was the Australian V8s. And I didn't realize that because I was going back to some of our old footage on YouTube, and I actually watched some of the races there. And I just trying to see which drivers were where in the series and that, and I didn't realize that Timo had finished second in that series. I knew he had been, pretty up there fighting for it, but I didn't realize he'd come so close to winning a championship with us. So he definitely likes his rear-wheel drive.
Sorry, I recall one night, I think it was when we were running the British touring cars, that he had in the rolling start the second race. He just had a demon start and disappeared into the sunset and nobody near to challenge. And with the fight happening for second, third and fourth, he won by quite a margin. So Timo, under the right circumstances, is quite quick. And he's showing that again tonight.
So we go for an onboard. Let's do an onboard lap with Sean Olivier. Just started a flying lap. I believe he's behind... Who is that he's behind? I believe it's Stanton Augustus.
Stanton runs the Fach Autotech Esport Porsche, aged 45. That's car number 997, if it is Stanton.
We're catching up to Harvey. Let's see how the lap pans out. Struggling to get past Harvey. I guess Harvey's on a lap, so he's not going to move over for them.
Well, on the previous corner, he was actually running very wide. I'm surprised that Stanton didn't go past him then. This corner they're going through now, I think, is the Dunlop curve. Goes on and on. It's a hairpin, and then goes up the hill to the Michael Schumacher corner. Let me just find myself on the circuit. He's using a bit too much of the curbing there. Harvey's not giving that position up. Or he's trying to run with them to see what race line they run so that he can learn the circuit as well. Of course, this track has quite a lot of curves, and if you look at it, undulation as well. You have a few hills that you climb, and it certainly makes races interesting when there is a change in elevation.
And here we see why Harvey wasn't giving it up. He hasn't yet done a time, and this is a personal best for him at the moment, that he's obviously now going to come across the line and put a time on the board, but unfortunately he would have lost a lot of time there because of them trying to pass him. So that's unfortunately the issue with the drivers when they catch up to a guy. Sometimes that guy's also on a fast lap.
Yeah. The corners that you had just before that was the NGK chicane, they go down into third gear, and then the last corner, the Coca-Cola curve, they actually go down all the way into second gear before they come across the start-finish line. The start is further down the straight than what the finish line is. The finish line is about a quarter of a way up once you come out of the final corner. So, but the start line is way down.
I jump to Julian. Julian decides to jump to the pits.
And I think we've got single seconds to go for this qualifying session.
Yes, that's it. So drivers on the laps now will have a chance to finish it. And there's not that many. Checker flag is now out, so whoever's on the lap, including Dinesh, which we are now with, and his personal best in sector 1. So Chris Collison currently in provisional pole, 0.010 over Jason Underwood.
My goodness. 1/1000th of a second.
That's about as close as it gets.
Yeah.
A bit of a slide there for Dinesh.
Normally that loses at least 0.1, but other than that, the car's going well. He has no benefit of slipstreaming anybody, but he also has nobody holding him up. So the downside and upside.
Jumps to the pits.
Yeah, he could have actually still completed that lap. Is that Timo still coming in to do a lap?
It is, but he's run wide. I'm not sure, but
yeah, he lost it.
I think he might have not actually. It's showing that he's on a first sector, but I think the session has ended. And all right, let's jump to an ad break before it jumps to the next session, and we will be back shortly then.
Until then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Alright, welcome back everybody as the drivers are heading out on their formation lap. This, of course, is round 2 of the Sim Experience IBF USA GT3 World Series, as we see some of the guys not pulling away on the grid, causing a bit of havoc there. This, of course, is partnered by IBFUSA. And then we have our other smaller sponsors, PZN Panel Beaters. We have Alwyn Automotive Glass. I, of course, I'm your commentator, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. In fact, this is incorrect info I'm showing you. It's actually, we've done away with the sprint race tonight, so this would actually be the feature race. So this is the 60-minute race, not the sprint race, so apologies for that. The drivers are now following everyone around. I'm going to just show everyone the starting order. Perhaps you could call this out, Sean. This should pop up on screen.
Just once they come up.
Perhaps I should just get it enabled here, because I had it disabled. It's alright, let's try that again.
Jason Underwood is going to be, and I must be honest with you, it's Gerrit Beekes. I recognize the car. Then it's Chris Collison in third. I missed the fourth place because the Adrian Nel, then Sean Willefue, Timo Smit, and Peter Geldnys in 8th position. So 8, Stanton Augustus, Chandra Dippenaar, Sillier, and
Sean Johnson.
Yeah, no, it's. I think you run with it, Dennis.
Okay, Rian van der Westhuizen, Peter Murray, Julian Brains, and Dean Nash. And in 17th place, Marius van Wyk, 18th, Donny Belafonte, Wayne Kruger in 19th, Andre Hildebrandt in 20th. 21st, we have Wessel Viljoen, 22nd, Stan Bezadenoot, 23rd, Monet de Toy, and Rudy van der Westhuizen in 24th. Javi Goos in 25th, and JP Sillier in 26th place. While we're waiting for the drivers to come up to the grid, just to let you know that I do have tyre selections for the race. This is the tyre selection: soft, medium, hard, and wet. The drivers are now across the line, and it is underway. Drivers are going.
The Aston Martins of Team Harder Racing are well positioned, but don't write off Gerrit Beekes in the BMW. He goes up on the inside, and one of the cars running very wide there is one of the Porsches, but I think that's going to settle into 4th position, with Beekes, I think, up into 2nd if the camera were to pan left. So it's more than likely going to be, yes, the poleman, actually the Porsche actually got a good run, a slingshot around the outside, and goes up into 2nd place.
And Timo Smit up into third. Yes, Timo in 3rd.
Yeah, he had a demon start. So we'll have to wait and see. They all seem to settle now. It's Nel and then Smit and then Dippenaar. So, but at this stage, Underwood gets away from them all. I wonder what happened to his teammate that he went from 2nd down to 5th. That's Chris Collison.
And that is our championship leader as well. So let's see Chris further back a bit. Just behind Jandre Dippenaar. Jandre seemed to have a fantastic start. I think he was starting from 9th place, if I was correct. So a good start there.
A really good start there, and a big change of where they qualified, which one doesn't normally see so soon in the race. Another thing that's going to be a factor, I know that in the first race, the guys went out on the softs, and they said that the tires seemed to last enough so that they could run the whole race on the softs. But I see most of the drivers, when they do switch over to the tires, are out on softs again. But I'm not sure if the Nürburgring is going to be so lenient on tire wear that they're going to complete an hour race on one set of soft tires. So there's the 2nd placed car of the, well, not the second, in the team. He's in 2nd place. He was 2nd in qualifying, that's Collison, in 5th position. But he has Dippenaar ahead of him, then Smit, then Nel. And of course, the first person you want to beat is your own teammate, but he's out in the front. Timo takes the corner very wide, but certainly uses it quite cleverly.
And Jandre going from defending to attacking, as we see his profile on the right. So Jandre, of course, driving from Namibia. He's aged 40 years old. Drives with PZN panel beaters, and he's driving a BMW. Highest championship position so far is 2nd place.
And he's got the Minions man in front of him, a Corvette, that's Timo Smit. So Timo in third position, Jandre in fourth, and Collison behind them in fifth position. It's really a nice circuit that has many interesting bends. The one they're coming up to now is the Dunlop curve. It's a hairpin, so it's going to be hard on the brake. They go fourth, third, second gear, and just out of the corner they go third gear. Then they go into fourth again. They feather it through the Michael Schumacher. It's not a corner, it's more a fast sweep, and they keep the foot down in fourth. They don't go to fifth, and then they get to the Michelin curve, which they go down into third gear. The Warsteiner curve, they go into second, out of the Warsteiner into third, then into fourth, and sort of just after the Advan Bogen, which is a bow in German, they go into fifth gear. So one of the two places on the circuit that they go into fifth gear before they come up now to the NGK chicane, which will be down into third gear only. That's very close. There's the NGK chicane. You can see them using all the curbing. And then there's another second gear corner, which is the Coca-Cola curve, which takes them back into the main straight. And down the main straight, they'll go third, fourth, fifth gear when they get to the bottom of the main straight. So certainly interesting racing. And Timo Smit is losing contact with Dippenaar in third position. Looks like Dippenaar is getting away from him.
I think Timo is maybe playing the waiting game, letting the car preserve its tyres a bit more. We did see some of the drivers there on hard, some on mediums. Timo is on hard, all the drivers in front of him are hard. The drivers all the way to 7th are on hard. Stanton is the first driver in 7th place on medium tyres.
Okay, so they've probably spent time on the circuit during the week to see what tyre wear is like. So if you're going to go onto hards, then I guess that's going to be a total change of the first race. That there's tyres are going to last again. Is it two cars that run two different compounds? So that's allowed, of course, in the rules that you can run, say, hards up or softs up front and hards at the rear, whichever way they've chosen there. I didn't actually take, it's hards in the front, I think, and mediums in the back for Johnson, that's Sean, and the same combination for, is it Stan Besaidnout in 13th position?
Yes. Some of the drivers choosing to mix it up a bit. As we see Sean in his amazing looking McLaren. Unfortunately, we don't have the live commentary tonight of YouTube, but we would usually have his brother, Gary. Gary comes and supports him, and he was in the YouTube channel briefly while we had some form of stream. So hopefully we'll have everything back up and running properly next week.
Right, we certainly are very glad that we have a race going. So the Vidal sign there that you see is a nice indicator to indicate to you that they are coming up to the NGK chicane. So that's about one of the positions where they are in fifth gear. The main grandstand on the left, as they cross, you'll see the finish line is about there, I think, but the start line was way down the track. And this will be one of there is about where they take fifth gear. And that's one, as I said, one of two positions. Hard on the brakes, second gear for this corner. It's the Hoog, or in German, the Hooghaken. And then they go into the Mercedes arena, which is left, 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 and more left, eventually down into second gear left. And then they keep it in second gear where they go into the 90-degree right and go down the fourth gear to the Valvoline curve where they change down into third. Valvoline curve is, wait for them to get to it. There it comes now. That's third gear. And then they come to the Ford curve, which is a second gear corner. So also hard on the brakes. You see the change of elevation as well. And here they'll go third and up into fourth. Before they get to the Dunlop curve, you'll see a tower to the right. That'll tell you that they're approaching the Dunlop curve. The camera didn't pan to it, but it shows you the curve certainly.
Quite a battle going on here in front here.
Yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So certainly the race leaders, he's gone, but Nell is not letting him run. There's an overtake on Timo, but Timo's not going to let Collison through, so Collison has to try. And now there's three of them together, so it's Timo Smit, Collison, and Sean Olivier running in 4th, 5th, and 6th position. And one would think they're in a sprint race. They're that close.
I guess they're making up for the lack of sprint race tonight.
Yeah. And somewhere somebody's done some magic smagic, and the bandwidth seems to have been a lot more cooperative than it was previously.
Yeah, so far so good. So at least we're up and running. Guys can have a race.
You'll see on the right-hand side, yes, it sort of just goes over half of the circuit. That just goes. That's the place where they go into fifth gear, but it doesn't last very long as they get to the corner where they go into
Breaking a bit
second.
deep there and almost making contact.
Yeah, the racing is very close here. Chris Collison and Sean Williford separated by about half a second. So certainly with them fighting each other, that means that Timo can get away from them a little bit and concentrating on getting up to Dippenaar. So I'm not sure that he's making any inroads because the font there is just too small for me to read, but certainly he is doing his best to get away from Collison and catch up to Jandre, I think it is.
Yeah, the gap at the moment is they're starting to lap Harvey Goes. First and second have passed Harvey. Now we'll have Jandre coming up to Harvey. The gap between Timo and Jandre fluctuating between about 6/10 and 8/10. And then we've got Chris close in behind Timo there, probably about 4 to 5/10 as you said. Harvey now letting them past.
The Porsche that was running, that one there in the second position, is that Adrian Nel?
It is, yes.
He's incredibly close to Underwood. So
Let's have a look at that then. Yes, right up with him.
quarter of a second. That's really close racing if one considers they're only about 10, 11 minutes into this race.
Yeah, Adrian, unfortunately, in the first round, he missed one of the races. He had a disconnect. But was very competitive in the one that he did attend. Still managed to score 15 points. So hopefully you can make both rounds tonight, or just the one. We'll see in the background, I think that's Peter Murray that has spun. He was doing very well. Fortunately now dropping down.
Brown stays just at 0.3 of a second, just under 0.3 of a second, quarter of a second. But certainly it's going to make Jason Underwood know that this race is not going to be as easy. There he actually puts a nose up the inside. Jason running just a little bit wide on that chicane. And he's going to know that he's going to have a battle on his hands tonight. It's not going to be all plain sailing as a back marker appears in front of them. And that'll probably be Richard Sylvier.
I see we have a few DNFs. Harvey Goes, Sean Johnson, Monet du Toit. I didn't even realize that they had DNFs yet, so my apologies. I'm not sure what happened, so a bit of a shame.
Mistake made there by Adrian Nel. Instead of following Underwood when Underwood passed the back marker, he actually ran up to and I think just gave the back marker a nudge. But there was plenty of space on the right-hand side, and you'll probably find that the gap between Nel and Underwood now is more than a quarter of a second.
Actually sitting at 3/10 now.
Okay, so as good as made no change whatsoever. So he was just, for an instant, didn't come out behind the back marker as quick as what he could have. So Timo Smit is half a second, 0.6 of a second behind Chris Collison. Oh, sorry, ahead of Chris Collison. So Chris Collison's got some catching up to do. But Timo Smit, he's just holding on to that fourth position after a demon start, as we did say.
Now we get to see Julian Brains. Now Julian, of course, is one of the drivers that has done a lot to help out with our streams. Fortunately, whenever I want to show him and speak about him, he seems to have a bad race, but he's at least driving at the moment, so we can put his driver profile up. So thank you, Julian, for all the help you've had. Julian, of course, is part of High Revolution. He's part of the team, but he is actually High Revolution, the company. Currently driving a Porsche. Best he's finished with us is a 9th place overall in championships. He hasn't done many with us, so I'm sure that will improve. Currently driving in 7th place. Of course, another driver from Cape Town.
The whole section that he's in now is the Mercedes Arena. It's a very technical section, as I said. You get out of second gear into third gear, back into second, until eventually you get out of that and there's a bit of a straight where you can get up into fourth position before the Valvoline curve, which puts you back into third gear.
I'm going to just show something that I don't think drivers would have seen yet because of the issues we've had with the stream. So I'm going to just turn off all the current things so that I can show you what I was hoping to show earlier. So with our driver standing, so at the moment we have... Where's this now? Sorry, I'm just a little bit caught up here. So we have our professional top three. Chris Collison from Jason Underwood and Timo Smith. This is the top three in the championship in the Pro Series. Then we also have a veterans class, which has Marius van Wyk leading from Andre Hildebrand and Javi Goos. So we see Javi being lapped, and you know he's still in a championship of his own, currently third in that championship. So that's good to have him at least there. And then the standings overall. Coming into this round, we have Chris Collison, 58 points, from Jason Underwood, 57, Timo Smith, 47, and then the overall top 15, we have Sean Olivier, Stanton Augustus, Gerrit Dukes, Jandre Duppenaar, Jean-Ray Dutoy, Adrian Nel, Daniel Belafonte, Rian van der Westhuizen, Sean Johnson, Peter Murray, Peter Geldenes, and Jeffrey Roux.
I don't think Jeffrey's out on track tonight.
No, he's one of the drivers that was coming back from the Neisner Hill climb, so he wasn't able to make it tonight.
At 40 is Julian Brains that you were talking about, running that Porsche Team High Revolution.
Alright, let's see how the battle's going at the front. Everything seems to be closing up there.
All three abreast is not going to work. I'm just trying to see who actually had to get out of it there. Just holding on for dear life.
I think that might be a back marker. That might be... No, that's actually Augustus. That's Stanton Augustus that's made his way up there.
Yeah, and look where Timo's gone. Timo's up into P2 while we were talking about that. So Stanton's come up. Jason's kept position. Adrian Nel has lost position, I think, down to P6.
I'm going to correct you. Jason was in first. Something's happened to Jason, and Jandre was in
I've got
third.
the team enders mixed up.
And yeah, and Adrian was in second. So maybe there was an incident between Adrian and Jason that I didn't see.
There's the Porsche at the back.
Yes. So we have Chris now in the lead from Timo and Jandre, and Stanton also right up there. So Jason down to fifth. Looks like he's weaving his car a bit, so maybe a bit of contact between himself and Adrian.
Because I did say that Adrian was right up there with that, and I said gold because of that's the color, or it's a bronzy color or orange, whatever your choice is. But I still said he's very, very close for only 10 or 12 minutes into an hour-long race. And at the moment we've got, if I see correctly, 44 minutes still to go.
Yes.
And
of course, Jason is running second in the championship, but he is our current BMW Cup champion. He won Season 1 and Season 2, so he successfully defended his title there. So we know he's a very good driver. He's been very competitive in these GT3s himself, and Chris have been the stars of the show so far in round one. Now Chris is at the front. Chris didn't seem to have the pace over Jason tonight. It looks like luck has been on Chris's side, and unfortunately Jason's, I'm going to presume, had an incident, and possibly with Adrian, who is now in the pits.
Well, that's a turn up for the books.
So
Because
Adrian,
close, there must have been an incident between. It's maybe as a penalty that's been dished out.
Adrian has got a DNF, so he's called it quits for tonight.
Oh my goodness! So that's not a good thing. Timo Smith running very well in second position. You can see the race leader in front of him. I'm not sure that he'll have the pace in the Corvette to catch the Aston, but Collison certainly is running. Well, you take what's given to you, and Chris Collison will say you've got to be in it to win it, or alternatively, you've got to finish first. Take it whichever way you like. There's a nice battle going on for fourth and fifth. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's fourth and fifth, and that will be between Duppenaar and Underwood. So Underwood coming back. Here's up on the outside, and it's a right-hand corner, but it's up, I think further up the hill. It's the chicane left. So this will be the NGK chicane left-right, and I think he's positioned for that.
Nice pass long before you even got there.
Yes.
Jandre is not giving up. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
And on his day, he's very fast. He seems pretty quick tonight, quicker than he was at the previous round.
So yeah, changes all the way, and this race, only 18 minutes run, and we've seen certainly a lot of changes in the top 5, 6, 7, including the race leader who's now in view in front of Jandre de Pinaar. Jandre de Pinaar in the PZN panel beaters car is doing his best to catch up to him. So we'll have to see if he's going to be able to do anything. He got past, I wouldn't say quite easily, but he did give room. So nice, honest, clean racing.
Chris's car looking like it's had a few dings as well. So it looks like both Team Harder drivers have had contact of some sort.
And Timo Smit is probably smiling like a minion from ear to ear with the position that he has, but he's got to be very, very careful because he's got Augustus right there, Stanton Augustus in the Porsche from Fach Auto Tech Esport, number 997, that's chasing him. If you can give the gap on that one to see if it's coming down, Dennis.
Currently 4.9 seconds to the leader, 1.2 to Timo. So we'll see how those pan out.
I'll just make a note of that because it looks as though the Porsche is catching up.
Well, Stanton does have the fastest lap of the race at the moment of a 155.5. We have Chris on a 55.9. We have Timo on a 55.7. So he does have the pace. The gap is now down to 1.1 to Timo. So he is catching Timo. And Timo is definitely falling back from Chris. So Chris currently pulling away from Timo, the gap to 3.3, where it was 2.5 earlier.
Maybe this circuit isn't as well suited to the Corvette as what we raced in the first round, but certainly Timo's there and thereabouts, which will help his championship quite a lot if you consider how far back the fourth placed car is, and that's Jason Underwood. But we still have 40 odd minutes to go, so don't write Jason off quite yet. And Jandre de Pinaar with him. Is that Julian that's running with them in 6th position?
Yes.
So Julian's having a good evening as well.
He's having a great race, yeah. A bit far back, he's 8.5 seconds back from Jandre, but having an excellent race. He's got Peter Murray right behind him as well. So Peter Murray was having a good race till he had a bit of an incident. Seems to have recovered slightly as well with, I think, the incident with possibly Adrian Nell and Jason Underwood. So he's up to 7th place. I think that's probably his best finish so far. I don't think he's been up to 7th before in the previous two races.
Julian a bit early on the throttle out of the Coca-Cola curve into the main straight, and you see the back end of that car step out on him. It looks very good to the spectator. There's that tower I was mentioning earlier, which tells you that they're going into the Dunlop curve. So if ever you see that black tower on the right, it's a nice landmark to show where you are on the circuit. But yeah, talking about stepping the back end out, it looks nice for the spectators, but certainly it's not good for tyre wear and grip for the driver. And you see now Peter Murray in 7th position catching up to Julian. And he has a show on the outside, but that's not where you want to do a pass. Go the long way around. And also, had he stayed out there, he could have potentially have done it because the circuit then came back to him with a right-hander. But interesting racing as they go up the hill. Nice, as I said before, nice to see the change of elevation. The Vidal banner that tells us they're getting to the NGK chicane. There they use the curbing quite a bit. And looks like Peter Murray uses a bit more of the curbing than one actually wants to. Puts a bit of dirt on the tyre. Nice clean exit out of the corner from Julian. And down the road they go, 5th gear, around about here. And it'll be not very long, then it'll be 432 and into the Haughaken, and the Mercedes arena allows them. Oh, it was very close there for a pass, but certainly these drivers are giving it everything. Julian holding on for what he's worth.
Another battle here, brewing for 2nd place. Stanton really close to the back of Timo. I think we must keep an eye on this because I think Stanton's got the pace to, if he can get past, maybe to start catching Chris.
Yes, we did say so earlier that Stanton had just put in a best lap. That's Stanton Augustus, the Porsche number 997 that you see in the white and red, just behind the Minions racing car behind him. So the Minions car is Timo Smith, of course, and Timo is quick in his own right. He runs a Corvette, as far as I know, the only one that's in this choice. They have quite a nice choice of cars in the GT3 series, but now it's only a car length from back bumper to front bumper, so Stanton really is pushing really hard.
Right, Auto, let's see if they can get a podium tonight. Already in third place, so he's on the podium. Let's see if he can keep it. Got fourth place at the previous round. A fantastic feature race there at the last round. And challenging really solidly at the moment for second.
Yeah, it looks as though it is so close now. It's about quarter of a second. And now they're into fifth gear and the slipstreaming, and of course hard on the brakes. It's going to be for the Haugen. But Timo makes it very difficult for him because he doesn't choose a particular racing line, otherwise known as making the car very wide. He can say it was unsettled under braking, but nonetheless, this is 36 minutes still to go. So if Stanton wants to chase Timo or pass Timo, he still has a lot of time to see where he is quicker than Timo and then sort him out at one of those corners. Luckily, with the fast corners that they do have at this circuit, there are quite a few positions that you can overtake. The one that you can actually overtake, and we've seen that already tonight, is not a corner as such. It's the one point where they go into fifth gear. If you get the car well positioned for slipstreaming, you can actually do the overtaking before you get to the NGK chicane. So that's at the Advern Bow. They're coming up here with a Vidal sign. You'll see that's a high-speed sweep that they come through. Then there's the chicane. That's what I thought would have been one of the potential points. That is Dinesh Singh, I think it is, that we see there being lapped.
No, that's for position. They're fighting hard here for position. Bit of contact.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more.
Unfortunately, Donny coming off second best there. No, so that's the Stan Bezadenote he's fighting with, actually. It looks like now he might get attacked by a Vessel Falloon. He was having a look, but I think he eased off a bit more on the brakes. So Donny looks like he's held on to his position right. Might have a little bit of damage from the contact, because he did have a bit of contact with Stan and then ended up in the barrier. So maybe both left and right side is damaged.
Donny Belafonte, car number 10 is actually Donny Belafonte with an R. He's 45, he's the second competitor in the Fach Autotech eSport team, and as obviously as his teammate does, he also runs a Porsche. Aged 45, I see his entry lists him as Swiss, but the surname of Belafonte would tell me that he's more than likely of Italian origin.
I'm not sure what happened to Andre Dupino. I never noticed, but he's only in 12th place at the moment. He was up in 3rd or 4th at one stage, and then there was a little bit of scuffling going on and he dropped down, but now he's dropped down even further, so I'm not sure.
I wonder whether it wasn't him and Nell and Underwood that were involved in the same tussle. See, Underwood up in the 4th. Is that Donny that's just gone off? Sorry, not Donny.
That's Stan Bezadenote, yeah.
Luckily, didn't hit anything.
Another driver having a good race. Rian van der Westhuizen currently in 7th place.
Yeah, points worth scoring. If you look behind him, there's nobody behind him. So as he finishes, gets out of the main straight and into the twisty bits of the Mercedes arena. This is where you really make the gearbox work. Got to be in the right gear at the right time. He runs in the PZN Weldmec racing team, one of the BMWs, and he's at a highest finish of 7th position in one of the previous seasons.
Yeah, having a great race tonight.
He's a little bit isolated to make it interesting for himself, but that being said, I think you'd rather have a lonely 7th position than a hard-fought anything lower down. Because if you look behind him, there's absolutely nobody in sight.
One of the drivers, I'm surprised, hasn't had a better result as Carrick, because he's been up there. I think he was involved in a start incident. I'm not sure if that's maybe got some damage to his car because of it, but as a result, he's currently in 6th place, behind Julian, who's having the race of his life, currently in 5th place. So excellent race for the Porsches by the looks of things tonight. We have Stanton in 3rd, we have Julian in 5th, Donnie in 9th. Yeah, they seem to be doing very well tonight. Maybe this track is good for Porsches.
What is the... Can you see the last lap time to see whether he's actually catching?
So at the moment, currently his last lap was a 59.6. Julian in front was a 59.1, so he's falling back from Julian.
Okay.
And Jason on a 58.1. Then we have Stanton on a 57.3. Timo on a 57.3 and Chris on a 56.7. So Chris is pulling away from them.
No, he's not sticking around to have anybody have a chance at getting to him. But Timo and Stanton Augustus are having a good race, even though it is now extended a bit. We approaching within the next minute and a half. It'll be the halfway mark of this race. But certainly we have had an interesting change for what was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I think earlier. That has changed all around. But look at Stanton come up to Timo now. So Timo knows that there's a battle on, and this Porsche is going to give this Corvette a hard time as they go along.
The interesting thing, as we see Ren van der Veste is pitting, Stanton is on the medium tyre, whereas Timo is on the hard tyre. So Timo might be playing the long game. He wants to get to the end without a pit stop. Stanton, his tyres might go off towards the end, so he might require a pit stop, which might be why he's so much faster at the moment.
Yeah, it's certainly it's one thing to be out there for practice, and then there's another thing to do a whole race distance and see how the two different compounds do. And this, as you say, two cars with two different compounds. One may be playing the long game.
Up the inside into turn 1.
Yeah, and it's a right-hander as well, so he's well positioned. Unless Timo can do the switchback on him, which it looks like he does, but now he's on the outside for the next part. And that's one thing about this Mercedes arena. There's a double change of direction, and you think you've just finished it, then there's another one. So, but Timo will be there, and he'll be quite happy. He's down into 3rd, and he's got a hard charging Underwood coming up to them. How far back is Jason from them? You can see him in the distance, but I think it's a long way behind.
Yeah, Jason is 11 seconds back from Timo. Let's see how the times now compare. Chris on the last lap did a 57.2, Stanton a 56.7. So Stanton actually caught up there. Gap is 5 seconds. It's now 4.5. It's coming down quite a lot at the moment, obviously depending on the different sectors that they're at. We'll see at the end of the lap how the lap times compare. But if Stanton can make his tyres last, and now that he's got clear air, let's see if he can catch up to Chris. You never know, maybe he can get a win tonight. Certainly looks like he's got the pace.
Yeah, Porsche's doing very well, and was that the race leader that we just saw go by? So
it was,
he
yes.
has him in sight. There's the race leader there.
3 and a bit seconds. Chris is slowing a lot. I don't know if Chris has maybe got a problem. Maybe he's got a mechanical issue.
That'll be interesting, because there he comes up the hill now. This is up the hill, I say up the hill, to the NGK chicane. And he's into using a lot less curbing than what the guys normally do. Then it's a second gear Coca-Cola curve, which is the last corner on this track. And he doesn't drift it out wide as some people do. And it's then Stanton that's coming and chasing hard, and Timo is going to be right there with him. But look who's just behind Timo is Jason Underwood. So Jason is chasing hard. He wants to have a podium.
We even have Julian there as well. So Julian in a fight at the moment with Kurt right behind him. Close they come to the wall there. They get really close.
Yeah,
to
it's very
wall.
close.
In motorbike racing, the riders, their helmets actually scrape that wall when they come around that corner. Absolutely incredible.
Goodness. Yeah, certainly not something I would want to try. And,
yeah, there's some fascinating pictures of the guys coming around there with their heads scraping.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wouldn't ride a motorbike at speed. I have enough scars and broken bones that are good testimony that motorbikes and motorcars do not mix.
Speaking of which, bikes and broken bones makes me think of Evel Knievel. He actually had a device that he helped sell that was called the stimulator that would apparently help any aches and pains from broken bones or anything arthritis. And I found out recently that it was all a gimmick. I always
Yeah.
wanted one. I thought, oh, that's such a fantastic device. I must get one. There's so many people who know that it would help, but it was a gimmick.
Yeah, in my case, I wouldn't be allowed on the track because I just use drugs to ease the pain. But only at bedtime, so.
Right, to the gap to Stanton and Chris at the moment 3 seconds, so just come down slightly now. 3.3, it's fluctuating different sectors of the track.
Yep.
I think Chris maybe just had a bit of a moment. It seems to have stabilized a bit.
What has happened is that Stanton, after doing the pass, is getting away from Timo Smith.
Yes.
So don't Timo, but as you say, maybe Timo's just playing the waiting game. Here he comes now out of the Coca-Cola curve and down the main straight. So tire compound might still be an issue. What are the front two cars on? Are they both on
Hard?
mediums?
No. Chris is on a hard, Stanton's on mediums. Then Timo, Jason, Julian, Kurt, Dippenar, and Peter Maria,
Okay.
they're all on hards.
Okay, so they run the race as if they want to finish it on one set of tyres, and it's going to be interesting to see whether Stanton can actually finish on one set of tyres being the mediums, but the other guys are going to run to the finish with, 26 minutes still to go.
Nice gap down here as well at the moment. Oh, Donny running off.
Wonder why we were just switched over to him. He was in 10th position, Donny Villafronte, and then he actually went off, and maybe it's Andy back in the pits.
He's just retired, so I'm not sure if he had a mechanical issue or maybe he ran out of fuel.
It's a bit early to run out of fuel, I would think, with 25 and 3/4 minutes to go.
Yes.
If that is an issue on the circuit, or they fueled it a bit too light, that car running off the circuit or using the circuit and then some more. It's of course not good for tyre. Well, the tyres probably don't take anywhere, but your grip thereafter is terrible until you get rid of all the rubbish that's on the tyre. Is that the NGK chicane that they just went through? Yeah, these cars come through the Advan Bow up to the NGK chicane. That's the race leader and Stanton Augustus. So Stanton is pushing. What's the gap now, Dennis?
2.1 going to the final corner as it slowly extends as Chris gets on the power first. So 2.6 now, 2.5. So let's say 2.5 as he crosses the line.
Yep.
Lap time wise, 156.8 from Chris, 156.3 from Stanton. So he's catching roughly
Half a second.
3 or 4 tenths of a second, not 3 or 4 seconds per lap.
Yep.
So he'll be there in a few laps.
Just saw Timo come out of the Hooghaken, and he certainly has a clear air behind him. So I thought that Jason was catching up to him, Jason Underwood, but it looks as though Timo has got onto the pace now again. I wonder whether he's decided that the Corvette, he's going to put the foot down and see if he can get up to Stanton Augustus.
Well, last lap he was faster than Jason. He did a 57.6. Jason did a 57.9. There was a moment where Chris was very slow. He did a 158. Timo did a 158. Jason did a 158. And Stanton did a 156. Then the next lap, they all sort of stabilized. Chris was back into the 57s. Timo, Jason back in the 57s. Now, Chris is back in the 56s. Timo is still in the 57s. And Jason is still in the 57s. And Stanton is also in the 56s. So Stanton the most consistent at the moment. Lap time, looks the gap is down to 1.8 at the moment.
Yeah, it was 2.5 when I spoke to you last. So certainly, if he can last the race with one set of tyres, then he is going to be a factor. Now you can see first and second in the same picture shot as they now come up the hill towards the NGK chicane. The Porsche seems to use less curbing than some of the other cars, so it seems to be well balanced there. The Coca-Cola curve, second gear, right-hander, and look, he hardly touches the curbs. Not even half the car width goes onto the curbing, so he's quite comfortable with the setup of that Porsche as he goes down the main straight, one of the few places that they do select fifth gear.
I'll put the information up there so we can see his foot positions as he's now on the throttle flat out, taps the brake lightly, back on the throttle. See where he stands on the throttle with the green line, now on the brake, hard on the brake, and then feathers it off. For those that just think the guys are just on the pedal, off the pedal, on the pedal, off the pedal, no, you actually have to dance with the pedals a bit.
The one place that is particularly so is, I've mentioned the Dunlop curve, where they're down into second gear, out of the Dunlop curve into third. Then before they get to the Michael Schumacher fast sweep to the left, they're into fourth gear, but you actually hear them feather in fourth, and they keep it in fourth all the way down to the Michelin curve, which is about an 80-degree left, and only there do they go into third gear. So they don't actually go into fifth, but they don't change down into third for the sweep either. They just feather it in fourth and go flat out thereafter. It was interesting during the week, just to acclimatize myself to the circuit again. I was watching some footage that actually had the graphics of how hard they are on the throttle and how hard they are on the brake, and that's where I picked up also the engine noise. You can hear that they just feather the throttle going through the Michael Schumacher sweep, which is the one after that second gear Dunlop curve. So certainly, as you say, it's not just foot down, foot off, foot down, foot off. You've actually got to think about what you're going to do about it.
And unfortunately, Stanton lost a little bit of time there, passing Stan, I think it was. Stan Bezuidenhout being lapped there. Stan doing very well to get out the way, but unfortunately, sometimes the drivers still lose a bit of time. And it looks like Chris lost just a little bit less. So the gap was down to 1.3, and then it went back up to 2. Now it's 2.4. So we'll see now, 20 minutes to go. How the tires last, how the gaps last, how the fuel lasts.
Yeah. Timo still going strong in third position. I think the guys will all be happy just to get the points, but certainly to win is very nice. To get a podium is very nice, but I think to be high scoring, if you're high up in the championship, and I think in the graphics you displayed that Timo was in third. So the way that, if he's in third position at the moment, he will probably keep third, because Jason Underwood is just behind him and Collison is in P1. So the overall standings for first, second and third, the way they are on the track now, will probably stay much the same, except there was only 1 point difference between Jason Underwood and Chris Collison. So there will be a swap for first and second overall, if I recall the points. I think it was 57 and 58 or something like that.
Well, Chris was ahead by 1 point, so he'll stay ahead. It wasn't Jason ahead.
Oh, okay, it was Chris ahead.
Chris on 58, yeah, Jason 57 and Timo on 47. So Timo was 10 points back from Jason. So Timo is likely to jump up past, or possibly past. No, I don't think with Jason in fourth.
Third and fourth is quite close together. So Andy was a bit behind from them. So yes, the front three will stay the front three in the championship.
I think it'll just be the gap between Timo and Jason will close up.
Yes, certainly. Very nice countryside here at the NURBURGRING. One part of the circuit that I think the guys probably don't like that much, although it hasn't bitten anybody tonight, is the Coca-Cola curve. If you look at, is that Jason Underwood that comes out of it, he actually uses very little of the curving coming out of that corner. Oh no, it's Marius van Wyk in 14th position, which probably explains why he uses very little of the curving, because he's probably a little bit slower than the other competitors, so he has less of the car wanting to go to the outside of the corner.
Of course, Marius,
age 60.
Yes, he is our veterans champion at the moment. He's currently leading the championship for the veterans. Drives for Deltec Esports. He's run Deltec for many, many years. I actually drove for them for a while. We drove in some top international series together, and that was great fun. Very, very competitive there. And he still has a team running there, so good luck to them all. Morris has been around a long time. Good to see he's still driving. Morris loves his Porsche. I kind of assumed he would take a Porsche for this series, which he did.
Yeah.
Morris also from Cape Town. A lot of our drivers are from Cape Town.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that the cars that are quick are the Aston Martins, and that's quite consistent if you look at what's happened in the first race and now in the second race. And then, surprise, surprise, the Corvette of Timo, and tonight the Porsche of Stanton Augustus. So they seem to be the cars to run. The BMW's there, and I think it's there in quite a few numbers. Cars that we don't hear much of are the Mercedes. I'm just having a quick look from those that I do have listed. Stan Bassano runs that very nice looking Ferrari. That's also one that stands out. As I say, there are quite a few BMWs. Andre Hildebrandt's not here tonight. I don't think Rian van Westhuizen. And Rian's running in 9th position. So that's another one of the BMWs. Peter Murray, car number 420. He's in 8th position. So the BMWs are quick, but they just don't seem to be in the top 5.
Yeah, it looked like this track doesn't suit them, but I'm quite happy that the track suits, different tracks will suit different cars, so hopefully it'll help the field spread and mix work out for the races and over the championship. I know the BMW at some tracks is really good. I think it's a more nimble car. It maybe doesn't have the punch out of a corner like maybe the Porsche does. The Porsche, I think, has a bit more grunt.
Interesting. I wonder whether do the guys get the chance to test different cars before the championship actually starts, or do they make a decision and choose that car and then run the whole championship with that car?
They did all get a chance. They all tested. Well, they had to own the car first to test it. So as long as they owned the car, they could test the car, and if they tested it and liked it, then they just basically picked whatever car they wanted. So we had a test race or two up, and what we tried to do is have several tracks, so the tracks would rotate to give the guys a bit more of a feel for the car, because if we just set it for one track, they pick a car that's good on that track, and that car might be terrible for the rest of the tracks.
Yeah.
We tried to give them some sort of choice so they know what would be good for them over the span of a championship. So you might find that some guys just don't perform at some tracks, but then they come really good at other tracks. So we'll see how the championship pans out. But at the moment, certainly tonight is looking good for the Porsches, maybe even the Corvette. The Corvette was good at the previous round. The Astons were good at the previous round. They're good here. We'll see how it pans out over the championship.
Just a point of interest, Stanton was under 2 seconds behind Chris when we spoke about it a few laps. What's the gap between first and second at the moment?
2.2.
Okay,
now,
so it looks
now down to 1 point something as it goes through the different corners.
Yeah.
But that was because of the back mark, so it has come down a bit again. He is catching, but not at the rate. There was actually the previous lap before the last lap where Chris was actually a 10th or so faster.
Okay, so that
might have been due to back markers
within himself.
Yeah, so the laps are very, very close. There's under 15 minutes left though, so if that doesn't come down quicker, then it looks like that's where Stanton might also be coming to tyre trouble now, so maybe his lap times are going to start dropping down.
That is the one thing that we did mention before, and he's in the top 5. I think the only car that's running mediums. Everybody else is running the hards. So if they are running the hards, they're not favourable in the early stage of the race, but certainly when you come into 40 plus minutes already run, 45 minutes already run, then they are possibly better than what the mediums potentially are. Although he's still got Collison right there in front of him, so Chris Collison is not getting away. He has Stanton Augustus right there. And so as they come up, there's the Vidal banner which says they're coming up to the chicane, and certainly running through there quite comfortably. Coca-Cola curve.
There's Timo still there in third, also going through the chicane. Yep. I don't know if it's just me, but the Corvette obviously is a heavier car in real life. I don't know what the weight of it is in GT3, but it just looks like it handles the bumps a bit more lethargically.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be as skittish as some of the other cars.
Yes.
It goes over the bumps and settles very quickly. A little bit nice graphics there, the flame out as he goes down from 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd gear for the Hooghaken, which is the Hooghoek, and then into the Mercedes arena, which has its multiple change of direction. certainly wakes you up from coming down the main straight. You've got a lot of work to do to get through the Mercedes arena, and there's a bit of breathing space before you get into the Valvoline curve, which is just short of 90 degrees again. And he seems to get through that quite easily. Then it's a second gear corner, which is the Ford curve, as we break away from him. I think that's to the second placed car. No?
Yes, it is.
997, that's
Augustus.
Stanton, yes.
The gap had come down to 1.7 at the one section. That's why I jumped it. I thought something was happening, but it's now extending again.
Timo seems to be closer, so I'm not sure what's happening between Timo and Stanton. For Stanton in second, Stanton Augustus, and Timo Smit in third. But certainly, from what I just can see visually, it looks as though Timo is catching up. But then again, it also looks as though Stanton is chasing Chris Collison. So the Aston Martin just holding its own. This is the sweep that I was talking about, that get into fifth gear round about there.
On the previous lap, Chris didn't have a lap time, so I think he had a cut, and therefore his lap time doesn't show up. But the lap time with Timo and Stanton is within a tenth of each other, so I think Timo's tyres are holding out now, and maybe Stanton's starting to drop off. Because Timo did a 56.7, Stanton did a 56.6, now he did a 56.7 on this lap. Let's see what... 56.4 now for Timo, so Timo definitely now starting to close.
So if they've got 11 minutes to go and they run just under 2 minutes per lap, 2:46.8.10, that's 5 laps definitely. So they'll run 6 laps, including the one they're on, and then that'll be the race done and dusted. So if anybody's going to mount a challenge, there's not much time lap-wise in which to do so.
Stanton has got the gap down to Chris again. It was down to 1.3 there briefly. So it looks like they're all closing up. The top 3 is definitely closing.
It was 2.5 when we spoke many laps ago. Then it became 1.8. And now you say it's 1.3. So certainly Stanton is pushing very hard with that Porsche. Timo Smit is holding his own. And I think Jason Underwood in that 4th position. I'm not sure how far back he is from Timo Smit, but from what we could see on the road, he has the race leader there, 2nd place.
Of course, if Stanton and Chris start battling, they slow each other down. That could bring Timo into it, and if Timo starts battling with the 2 ahead, that could bring Jason into it. So Jason is a bit far back, but anything can happen. You never know.
Yeah, car number 22, Chris Collison, holding on for what he's got, and Stanton Augustus, car number 997, chasing really hard.
Unfortunately, there's many big gaps throughout the field, so it seems like all of the drivers are well over 10 seconds between them, apart from Peter Marais and Julian, which are 5 seconds apart, and Julian is 5 seconds back from Yandre. But yeah, the spread has been quite major tonight, so I guess with a couple of incidents and a bit of damage, the guys are kind of just pacing themselves.
I think first and second is closer than what Chris Collison would like, with 9 minutes to go.
Yes, definitely. And now back marker in the way.
He stays up quite nicely. Stay out, he does again. Well done, sir. Doesn't take the gap when it's there.
So Rian van der Veste isn't there just getting past?
Drive, Rian, and certainly good gentleman driving, keeping the car out wide and letting the guys that are fighting for first and second take up the road. I think it's not going to change his position on the track in any way, but certainly it may or could have influenced first and second position.
On board to Rian as he watches the first and second ahead of him. The gap came down to a second there briefly. The braking zone between first and second, that is.
Just for info, Rian van der Westhuizen, age 53, runs a BMW for the PZN Weldmec team. So he's allowed them past, but he himself is catching up to Stanton now. So using the Porsche to slipstream and also maybe see where the racing line is different. But they aren't getting away from him as quick as I thought they would have. But that being said as well, he has good pace, even though he's been lapped. but he's holding on to first and second. He can see them right there in front of him and use whatever air they are pushing away in front of him to his own good. A different view of the Coca-Cola curve for a change. That's very nice to see with the main grandstand or the complex on the left. It'll be third gear, fourth gear, and they'll hold it on fifth, and at this point they'll go into fifth all the way down the road and into second again for the Hulk corner.
In the braking there,
In elevation.
down to 8/10 between first and second.
It's getting very close. It's less than a second now, and we have 7 minutes to go. So it'll be 3 laps plus another. So this lap plus 3 more, that's my guess. So certainly Chris Collison has a race on his hands, that's for sure.
Yes, and I'm sure Stanton is sweating at the moment as well. Can't make a mistake now. He's closing in at quite a rate, so he can win this. But if he makes a mistake, then he won't be able to. It'll be over. It's so close that you need to be perfect till the end of the race. Just keep chipping away.
The famous tower that I always tell you to expect the Dunlop 180 hairpin, which it is, and that goes up the hill. At this point, they're into fourth gear, and it's for this sweep that they just feather the throttle, but keep going in fourth gear, and then they flat out again, going up the hill all the way to the Michelin curve, where they go back into third for this left-hander here. They keep it in third gear all the way to the Warsteiner curve, the right-hander. Here they go back into second gear again, and out of the Warsteiner curve, they're into third, then into fourth, and then as they go through the sweep about here, they're into fifth gear, the second of the two, the main straight and this place where they are now are the 2 places that they go up into fifth gear.
So with the onboard data now telemetry up, you can see the gearing there. So just between where the throttle and the brake is, it goes green and red for brake and throttle. Above that is the gear that they're in. So currently third, fourth.
And straight fourth, let's see how close I was with that. They're a little bit earlier into fifth than what I thought it was, that thing that, I think it's the start lights actually that go over the circuit there. So they're into fifth just before the start lights.
Both did a 56.1 on the previous lap. Only a fraction faster by Stanton, but he did have quite a big slide just before the Schumacher S's.
It's certainly now 3.6 minutes to go. Sorry, 3 minutes and 50 seconds, or is it 4 minutes?
4 minutes and 50 seconds it was, yeah.
Yes. So close racing, certainly it is. As Stanton is now within less than a second, I should imagine, behind Chris Collison. And everything else behind them. What's the gap to Timo and then the gap to Jason for third and fourth behind them?
Timo is 7 seconds back from the lead. Sorry, from second.
Chase them.
Gap to Jason is 30 seconds back, so Jason is 30 seconds back from Timo.
Okay, so Timo is settled for third. It's first and second that might change in this race.
Yes.
For the time.
So we're going to stay with this for now unless I see a closer battle, which at the moment all the battles withered away. This is the only battle on track.
Just under 4 minutes to go.
We can just do a quick rundown of who is where. So at the moment in 16th we have Dinash out of the runners that are left. We have Donny Balafronte who has had a DNF. We have Adrian Nell on a DNF, Peter Holdenes on a DNF, JP Salia on a DNF, Harvey Close DNF, Sean Johnson DNF, Rene Dutoy DNF, Andre Hildebrand DNF. So we have Dinash, and then we have Rudy van der Westhuizen in 15th. We have Stan Bezuidenhout in 14th. Morris van Wyk in 13th. Sean Olivier in 12th. Wessel Verleun in 11th. Richard Salia in 10th place. He's actually not doing too badly tonight. Rian van der Westhuizen doing very good tonight in 9th place. His teammate Peter Murray in 8th place, also having a very good race. He was up to 6th place early on in the race. Then there was that one incident, but still a solid 8th place. Julian solid 7th place tonight, so a good result so far for Julian. Yonder Dippenaar has worked his way back up to 6th place. So he was in 12th place earlier. I still remembered looking at that saying, wow, what is he doing there?
Yeah.
But he had been into the pits, so maybe he went for a tyre swap or something, decided to go for something a little different strategy-wise. Anyway, he's in 6th place at the moment. He is on the hard tyres at the moment, though. Carrot is in 5th place. Quite a long way ahead of Yonder, so Yonder won't be catching. Yonder is 50 seconds back. Carrot is 7 seconds back of Jason, so that's maybe something to keep an eye on. Lap time wise, he's almost 2 seconds lap faster than Jason on the previous lap. So with a gap of 6 seconds now, I think there's not quite enough time left to go. 2 minutes left to go, so I don't think he'll catch. So Jason, of course, in 4th place. Then we get to our top 3 of Timo in 3rd place.
Timo's coming up to a back marker, I think it is.
Yes, I think that might be Rian. That was lapped earlier by the front runners. And of course we have Stanton and Chris, so this gap is now 1 second.
Adventure last lap.
This should be the last lap, yes.
Yep. So Stanton really has to be late on the brakes. Oh, mistake by Chris Collison. He really got the nose. He overcut the corner, in my opinion, and the change of elevation on the inside of that corner is quite vicious. So I think you don't want to be right on the curbs for that one. And I'm not sure whether it made a change to the distance between the two of them, but this is the last lap that Stanton has to get to that Aston Martin. So has the Porsche got the legs to catch up to the Aston? We'll have to wait and see.
Right, so far it looks like it's looks like you had the rear end coming out a bit there. We lost a little bit of momentum.
Just a small mistake on this last lap, and it could be the difference between first and second.
So it looks like it's going to be Chris from Stanton and Timo.
So that's going to be the way, if they end that way, that's the way the championship runs as well. It's just going to be a bigger gap between Chris and Jason for first and second.
I'm just going to try and get things ready in the meantime while I'm preparing for it.
Right, and certainly hats off to those that did stick around. We did have plenty of gremlins tonight, and apologies for that. We certainly hope we'll have them all ironed out by next week, and I'll be able to be a little bit more forthcoming if we have the lap scoring monitor as well. It certainly does help with the commentary as we come through the NGK chicane. I think for the last time is up as I come through the Coca-Cola curve.
Right,
It's got Collison that wins it from Augustus. There's the checkered flag. Timo Smith's going to be the next man through, and the rest of them are quite a long way back. The car that crosses the line now has been lapped. There's Timo going through as we wait for Jason Underwood. He's all the and still a mistake so far. You know, it's on the last lap, and you can't afford to make mistakes because you've got to get across that finish line before you can actually claim the points. But he seems to have settled it well again in fifth gear, then down into fourth and into third for the NGK chicanes. Doesn't use much of the curbing, as he certainly is going to do his best to hold on to that position. So Jason Underwood, car number 11, he comes through in fourth position. Well done. The BP livery car of Bierkus will be fifth. So certainly a great race that he's had. He was fast in the initial qualifying sessions where somebody decides to go wide, as they've already come through. Actually, that car hasn't come through yet. That's going up the hill towards the Advan Bow. That's the one that's at the TUV banner. That's, as I said, this comes up the hill towards the NGK chicane. So that car actually went off circuit before getting to the finish line. So that might be a position, if you can find out who that is, Dennis.
That, I think, was Vessel for Julian, because it wasn't Julian. Julian is behind, so it was teammates. That was the teammate for this car, Julian Brains.
So Julian's over in seventh position. Oh, he's coming up. There's the NGK chicane. After that, it'll be the Coca-Cola curve. And taking it rather timidly. You'll see he probably doesn't really... Actually, does get to the curbing about half car width. and then across the finish line.
I think he just ran out of fuel. That was lucky to finish and not lose a place. That was a back marker passing him, so he just made it. And then I think Peter Mirez ran out of fuel. He's giving one of the drivers.
Is that his teammate giving him a push?
Who's pushing you? Yeah, that's him getting a push from Rian van der Westhuizen.
Yeah, there he goes. So Rian had more fuel. He's staying there behind him. It's actually one of the techniques that the guys use in karting to get a fast lap. If you're actually slipstreaming somebody, then, or maybe the car just cut out, maybe now with the rolling backwards and forwards, a change of direction. Oh no, they've actually gone across the line already if they're coming into the pits now.
All right, well, let's head off to the ad break quickly and we'll be back shortly.
All right.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash? Or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash? Or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any...
All right, welcome everyone. We are here for our interviews. This is, of course, the end of round 2 from the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series, coming to you live from NURBURGRING Grand Prix Circuit. So with us for the interviews tonight, we don't have the top 3. We have 2nd to 4th. So in place of 1st place Chris Collison, we have his teammate Jason Underwood, who finished 4th. In 2nd place we have Stanton Augustus, and in 3rd place we have Timo Smit. So let's start with Stanton. Stanton, since you're the highest ranked driver here tonight, going by the finishing results. Great finish for you and for the team tonight. Overall, unfortunately, Donnie had a bit of a problem later on. I'm not sure if he ran out of fuel. But yeah, absolutely excellent. The guys were talking about the top end of your car, but the car looked like a bit of a handful towards the end. I saw you getting a bit of hectic slides, but I know you were on medium tires. The other guys were on hard tires. Give us a rundown of your race.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for the event as well. What can I say? Good performance from me today. Better. We worked extensively hard on the setup of the Porsche. It wasn't our favorite car from the get-go, but we prefer the medium tire because we realized that once the fuel level drops, that the operating tire window starts coming back to us, and that's when we be able to extract the pace towards the end. But I must say, it doesn't come without extensive practice and then collecting data. Happy with the car's performance today. Straight line speed, I'm quite surprised ourselves after the update of rFactor 2. It was reluctant to run such a high rear wing, but we were quite surprised as well. Me myself, I'm using P12 rear wing, and it was good. But as I said, yeah, a lot of hard work went into the setup of the car. At the end there, it was just a bit of tire dig. I was trying to push hard, but Chris was a little bit too fast. I couldn't gain more than 1.5. I couldn't get closer than that. But yeah, and also I was a bit lucky with the bundle up there in the beginning there. Sorry about some guys' races that got wrecked, but that's racing. But anyway, thank you guys again for a wonderful event.
It's a pleasure. Congratulations on the result.
Thank you.
Then let's have a word with Timo. Timo, a fantastic result for you once again on the podium again. Once again in the third place. It looked like you were going to challenge for a second a bit longer. Then it looked like maybe your tires were an issue. You seemed to lose a bit of pace. And then it came back towards the end briefly as well. So unfortunately, by that point, you looked like you were just too far back to challenge for the position. But what was the race like from your point of view? It looked like you might have had some damage and maybe caught up in an incident near the start.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Exactly what you said there. No, I'm stoked. Third place is definitely the best we could do today. Unfortunately for the guys, like Stanton said in front of us, we lost a few guys, so that's the reason we're here. But still, we had to finish the race to end up here, so I'm extremely happy with third. Yeah, I mean, we won't be able to run the mediums for an entire race like the Porsches, definitely not. On the Corvette, it looks like a Christmas tree, you know, it's just traction control lights, left, right, and center. Yeah, at the end, because yeah, it's quite slippery. But yeah, I think for us to get kind of on the running pace for the guys that are in front, we will need to do some setup work definitely, and also a lot more practice. So, but well done to Team Order Racing. Chris ran an excellent race. Stanton kept me honest all the way, and when he passed me, I thought, okay, cool, let's see what we can do. Tried to catch up at the end, like you said, but I think I might have cooked the tires. So yeah, I just settled for third, got good points. So on to the next one.
All right, then instead of having first place to talk to, we have fourth place. So I don't have a graphic for fourth place, but I managed to modify the little podium here. So we have fourth place Jason with us, but I'm going to put the first place up when you talk. So Jason, also an eventful race for you. Bit of an incident. Unfortunately, that's racing sometimes. Your car got damaged as a result of you trying to do the right thing and hang back a bit to be the sportsman driver. But yeah, perhaps you can just give us a rundown from your own words.
Yeah, so qualifying went well. Managed to get everything and absolutely everything out of that car for qualifying. But the longer distance, you're in Stanton on mediums the whole race. That's really shook my brain a bit. I think a change of car is in order here. I'll take a 100-point penalty for even if that's possible.
No.
But no, seriously. Yeah, a bit of an incident in the first. I think it was the third corner with myself and Adrian. I broke myself. went into the back of him, and then I waited for him to regain track position, and then was hit from behind. I think someone hit us both from behind. Obviously, it must have been a blind corner or something. Damaged both of our cars, and then that was it. And I was trying to hold on. I had 2% of tires on my front, so yeah, it was an interesting race, but we weren't quick enough anyway. On the hard tires, it was just one of those race meetings, one to forget, but also one to learn a lot from. Congrats to Chris, teammate, for winning. Stanton and Timo. Different league tonight, boys, so well done.
All right, thank you. Sean, would you like to ask the drivers any questions?
No, I think it's just about being all spoken about. Maybe, Stanton, your opinion of the Nürburgring as a circuit to drive. Do you actually, after a 60-minute race like this, are you actually quite tired after driving? And you drove very well, first of all, to all three of you. And to Jason, who's not, to Chris, who's not here, a great race from all of you. And we could sort of see when first, second, third, and fourth had settled. But Stanton, the circuit, is it quite taxing? Do you feel that you've actually been in a race car for an hour?
Mate, let's just say this. We do extensive endurance racing, and let's say 1 hour races. Like we do a lot of 12-hour, 24-hour, 8 hours. So I normally do 2-hour stints at the time, and we do extensive practice. Nürburgring is just one of those tracks which I know very, very well. So it was just a matter of just putting laps together. But as I said, a known track, quite fun to drive. Not my favorite one, but fun.
Also, at least it has some landmarks that makes commentary a lot easier than Silverstone, as an example. So to you, this is actually a sprint race if it's an hour. Timo, to you, an hour on this track?
Yeah, after 15 minutes, it's enough, actually, to be honest. Yeah, I'm sweating. Yeah, don't know how the guys do it in the real world. So yeah, kudos to them.
Great stuff. Our team order racing, Jason, although you got fourth and were involved in the incident, a good race finish for you. Your opinion of the circuit?
Yeah, it's one of the circuits that we race on quite a bit over here in our other leagues. It's a lovely circuit. It's very technical, the slower parts, and yeah, it's just one of those circuits. If you get into the groove, which obviously Stanton, Timo, and Chris were, it's a very nice track to drive. But yeah, it was good nonetheless.
Right, then Dennis, back to you as we head off to the next race meeting.
All right, then, if you drivers would like to give any final words, so we'll start with Stanton. Perhaps, Stanton, you want to give your final words for the evening?
I just would like to congratulate all of you guys. Thank you for welcome us at Sim Racing SA. We're glad to be here. As you know already, Alex will join up later, and then Luca as well. They are my teammates as well. We do come from an endurance background, which I related already. So we're happy to be here. We're happy with the organization. We're happy with everything you guys have done so far. So we're pleased to be here. Thank you to all of you guys. Thanks.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. And then Timo, any final words from you?
Yeah, just a massive thanks to you, Dennis, and Sean. Thanks for all the hard work that goes into this to make it reality. I know we had server issues, but you switched over to other servers, and all of that in the background. And we as drivers, we just receive it on this end. It was absolutely fantastic. So great to have those DR plans in check. And thanks again to everyone involved, and congrats to everyone who finished.
Thank you. And Jason, any final words from your side?
Well, congratulations to the top three. Well deserved. Thanks, Dennis, to get us up and running tonight. Sean, always good to hear your voice. And to Porsche South Africa, I will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
And just to let you guys know as well, the stream didn't go to plan tonight, so we're not streaming live. So this is all being recorded at the moment. I will now, once it's finished, upload it to YouTube. So it will be on YouTube. It's just going to be delayed. So because of the issues tonight with the server and everything, we couldn't get it to broadcast at the same time. So you'll just have to wait a few minutes before you can watch it live, or delayed. Just delay it a bit more. But thank you guys. Thank you for racing tonight. Always great to have you guys with us. And congratulations to the top 4 drivers, since we have Jason here. Fantastic race to watch. Good battle at the front between you guys. Hopefully the next one is much better. So until then, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. I'm going to just put up the final goodbyes here and just show our final schedule for the next round, which is Twin Ring Motegi. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to kick the rest of you out of here so I can say goodbyes. So the next round will be Twin Ring Motegi, followed by Imola Grand Prix Circuit, followed by Long Beach, Spa, Mexico, Montreal, Sebring, and Monza. So quite a long calendar, 10 rounds. Unfortunately, tonight being a bit of a technical issue. I think some of the drivers might end up using tonight as their drop rounds. They are allowed 2 drop rounds, so everyone gets to score a maximum of 8 rounds only. So their 2 worst rounds get dropped. You can choose which one you want to drop. If this is one of them, it will automatically drop the worst round. So if this is one of your worst rounds, or if this is your best round, it will just pick it automatically. So hopefully that comes into play and everyone is happy. Otherwise, we will catch you all the next one. So thank you very much, Sean, for joining tonight. Hopefully the next one goes much smoother.
Thank you, Dennis, for your contingency planning, and that at the end of the day, it did work out. And that sounds like the drivers enjoyed the race, even though I think you were the one sweating tonight to actually get the race going. Well done.
Thanks, yeah. And of course, next Sunday we'll have extra race as well, because Sean, you and I will be doing the Namibian esports event. So that will be the first round of that, which is a Namibian Motorsport Federation's esports series, which is sanctioned by the FIA. So that's an official FIA event that we are going to be hosting as Sim Experience SA for them. And Sean will be coming along for the journey. So that would be quite nice to have a series which will alternate between DTM and British touring cars per round. So the first round will be DTM at Silverstone, so it'll be quite a fast round. The second round will be British touring cars at, I think it's Portland, if I'm correct. I might be incorrect on that. So that'll be something different to watch. But yeah, until next week. Next week will be a busy one. Have a good week, everyone, and we will catch you all then.
Thank you. Good night.